गोपीनाथ नियत चरण स्थाने मागे ये पमार कंडिया कंडिया कोरो हे करुण दाना गोपीनाथ तुमी तो सकली पारो दुर्जने तरीते तोमर शकती के आचे पापीरारो गोपीनाथ तुमी कृपा परबारा जीवेरा करणे आशिया प्रपंचे लीला कोइलो सुविस्तारा गोपीनाथ आमी की दोषे से दोषी असुर सकल पाइलो चरण विनोदता किलो बोसी गोपीनाथ मम निवेदन सुनो विषयी दुर्जन सदक मेरत किछु नहीं मोर गुण विषयी दुर्जन सदक मेरत किछु नहीं मोर गुण Translation: O Gopinath, Lord of the Gopis, please hear my request. I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess. O Gopinath, you are my only hope, and therefore I have taken shelter at your lotus feet. I am now your eternal servant. O Gopinath, how will you purify me? I do not know what devotion is, and my materialistic mind is absorbed in fruity work, and I have fallen into this dark and perilous worldly existence. O Gopinath, everything here is your illusory energy. I have no strength or transcendental knowledge, and this body of mine is not independent and free from the control of material nature. O Gopinath, the sinner who is weeping and weeping begs for an eternal place at your divine feet. Please give him your mercy. O Gopinath, you are able to do anything, and therefore you have the power to deliver all sinners. Who is there that is more a sinner than myself? O Gopinath, you are the ocean of mercy. Having come into this phenomenal world, you expand your divine pastimes for the sake of the fallen souls. O Gopinath, I am so sinful that although all the demons attained your lotus feet, Bhakti Vinoda has remained in worldly existence. Hare Krishna. Telugulo chadavandi.
గోపీనాథ దయచేసి నా నివేదనను వినుము. నేను విషయం దుర్జనుడను, సదా కామరుడను. నాలో ఎటువంటి దుర్గుణాలు లేవు. ఓ గోపీనాథ, కేవలము నీవే నాకు దిక్కు కాబట్టి నీ చరణ కమలాలను ఆశ్రయించాను. ఇప్పుడు నేను నీ నిత్య దాసును. ఓ గోపీనాథ, నీవు నన్ను ఏ విధంగా పరిశుద్ధులను చేయగలవు? నాకు భక్తి అంటే ఏమిటో తెలియదు. నా ప్రాపంచికమైన మనస్సు సదా ఫలాసక్త కర్మాలలో నిమగ్నమైనది. నేను ఈ ఘోరమైన అత్యంత ప్రమాదకరమైన సంసారంలో పడి ఉన్నాను. ఓ గోపీనాథ, ఇక్కడ గల సకల వస్తువులు ఈ మాయాశక్తియే, నాకు ఎటువంటి బలం కానీ దివ్య జ్ఞానం కానీ లేదు. నా ఈ శరీరం భౌతిక ప్రపంచం యొక్క అదుపు నుండి విముక్తమైనది కాదు. ఓ గోపీనాథ, ఈ పాపాత్ముడు ఏకదాటిగా ఏడుస్తూ ఈ దివ్య శరణాల వద్ద శాశ్వత స్థానాన్ని మిమ్మల్ని వేడుకుంటున్నాను. దయచేసి మీ కరుణను దానం చేయు. ఓ గోపీనాథ, నీవు ఏమైనా చేయగలవు కనుక దుర్జనులందరినీ కరింపజేసి శక్తి నింపగలవు. నాకంటే పాపాత్ముడు ఎవరున్నాడు? ఓ గోపీనాథ, నీవు కృపాసాగరుడవు. పతిత జీవుల కొరకు ఈ ప్రపంచానికి వచ్చి ఈ లీలలను విస్తరింపజేశావు. ఓ గోపీనాథ, నేను ఎంత పాపాత్ముడనంటే అసురులందరూ నీ పాదాలను పొందినప్పటికీ భక్తి వినోదుడు మాత్రము భౌతిక సంసారంలోనే ఉంటున్నాడు. హరే కృష్ణ.
Hare Krishna. So this should be our prayer. So is this true or not about ourselves? O Gopinath, Lord of the Gopis, please hear my request. I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess. So how many of us can admit? So it's very difficult to admit that we are all wicked, materialist, always addicted to material desires, and no good qualities do I possess. So actually, this song is composed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not opening his heart. We do not know how to pray to Krishna, what we should pray for. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is teaching us what we should pray for and what is our heart. So this is how the Acharyas teach us. So just like the teacher is writing ABCD on the board, that doesn't mean that the teacher doesn't know what is ABCD. So it is for the students to learn. So similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is teaching us what we should pray to the Lord when we come before the Lord. So he is showing us what we should pray. Suppose many times we come before the Lord, we do not know what to pray for. So many times we come with many of our material lists. So we have a list of things, so which we feel is good for us. So make my life materially more comfortable. So get me a job, get me a good, get me a seat in a good college. So, or many elderly people come, my daughter is not getting married, my son is not getting married, my son doesn't have a job. We have a list of all the material things which we need to ask before the Lord. So we think all these things will make us happy in this world. But we really do not know what is that we are supposed to ask when we come before the Lord. So these are all the things, so which are all the contaminations in the heart which does not allow us to be peaceful. Mama nivedana suno vishayi durchana sada kamerata. My heart is always filled with materialistic desires for sense gratification. So therefore, what is my only hope? My only hope is, Gopinath, you are my only hope. There is no other hope for me in this world. So you are my only hope. Therefore, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet and I am your eternal servant. So when we come to this position where we understand that Krishna is our only shelter, so that is a symptom of advancement. Okay. So who is our only shelter in the world? Krishna, Gopinath. He is the Lord of the Gopis. So I have taken shelter of your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant. Oh Gopinath, how will you purify me? I do not know what devotion is, and my materialistic mind is absorbed in fruity work, and I have fallen into the dark and perilous worldly existence. How will you purify me? So it is just like there is a coal basket which is filled with coal. Suppose if you want to wash the coal basket, how will you wash it? Huh? By washing the coal basket, will the coal basket become clean? Our heart is also like that. So, but it looks better than before. If we start cleaning, if we apply the process, it will start looking better than before, and eventually it will get clean. Okay. So our heart is also like that. How will you purify? I do not know what devotion is. So as devotees progress on the path of Krishna consciousness, as we grow, as we take up to the process of Krishna consciousness, we will understand that we have no devotion for Krishna. So these are all symptoms of advancement of a devotee. So initially, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we think that we are great devotees. So I am a better devotee. I have so much devotion for Krishna. I have so much love for Krishna. So I'm chanting 16 rounds. So I'm following regulative principles. We think that we are great devotees. But actually, as we advance, many of the great devotees, so they always pray that I have no devotion for you. I have no bhakti. So even great acharyas like Purandara Dasa, they say, ಎಳ್ಳು ಕಾಳಿನಷ್ಟು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನೊಳಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೇಳಿದರ ಇದು? Have you heard this song? So ಎಳ್ಳು ಕಾಳಿನೊಳಷ್ಟು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನೊಳಗಿಲ್ಲ. What does it mean? So what is the size of a till seed? ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನೋಡಿದಿರ ಇದು? ಎಳ್ಳು ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಇಷ್ಟೇ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಹಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಪುರಂದರದಾಸರು ಹಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So he's thinking that I don't have so much devotion also for him. So acharyas, when they are saying like that, then what is our position? So I feel that I am a great devotee, so all devotees should respect me, offer obeisances unto me. So instead of offering obeisances to Krishna and the acharyas, we feel that they're not giving me respect. They're not offering me obeisances. So they're not showing me respect. They're not giving me enough bhav. So all these things will slowly creep up in the heart as we progress on the path of Krishna consciousness. We have so many other anarthas, which all creep up in the heart. So all these different kinds of anarthas should be taken out, weeded out from the heart. So just like you have a field, so when you're cultivating a crop, there are so many other weeds which also grow along with the crop. So if you don't weed out these unnecessary things, so puja, labha, pratishtha, looking for name, fame, honor. So when we progress on the path of Krishna consciousness, if we don't weed out, then the weeds will grow, weeds will overtake the crop. Okay? And finally, only weeds will be there. So there won't be any crop. So Krishna consciousness is also cultivation. It is also a process of cultivating Krishna consciousness. So therefore, time and again, we have to check what is the position of our heart. So what are these anarthas in the heart? How I can root out these anarthas from within the heart. So all these things are very, very essential for you to grow on the path of devotional service. Okay. Oh Gopinath, everything here is your illusory energy. I have no strength or transcendental knowledge, and this body of mine is not independent and free from the control of material nature. So we are all influenced by the modes of material nature. So what are the three modes of material nature? Yeah. So goodness, passion, and ignorance. So all these three modes bind us to this material world. Okay. So how do they bind us to this material world? Sattva, tamas, and rajas. So mode of ignorance. How do you define mode of ignorance? So దీన్ని తమోగుణం అంటాం మన తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే. తమోగుణం, రజోగుణం, సత్వగుణం. సో ప్రతి ఒక్కరును ఈ ప్రపంచంలో దే ఆర్ అండర్ ది కంట్రోల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ త్రీ మోడ్స్ ఆఫ్ మెటీరియల్ నేచర్. నోబడీ ఈస్ ఫ్రీ. సో జస్ట్ లైక్ దుర్గాదేవి. సో దుర్గాదేవి అందరినీ ఎలా కంట్రోల్లో పెట్టుకుంటుంది? దుర్గాదేవి చేతిలో ఏది ఉంది? త్రిశూలం. ఆ త్రిశూలం ఏదాని ప్రతీకం అంటే సత్వము, సత్వ, తమస, రజస, ఈ 3 గుణాలకు ప్రతీకం. ఆ గుణాల ద్వారా ప్రతి ఒక్క జీవిను ఈ భౌతిక ప్రపంచం ఒక బంధనంలో ఉంచుతున్నాం. So she binds everybody to this material world with this 3 modes. That's the representation of this trident. So what is the symptom of the mode of ignorance? A person will like to sleep more. He is lazy. And what is supposed to be done today, he will postpone it to tomorrow. So that is the symptom of mode of ignorance. What is the symptom of the mode of passion? The heart is filled with material desires. I want more. I want more and more. Today I have $5 million. How can I make it to $10 million? So greed. So this is passion. And attraction, this begins with attraction between man and woman. And they want to keep expanding their family and the necessities of the family. So this is mode of passion. Goodness. In the mode of goodness, people are more or less happy because they have knowledge and they know how to conduct themselves in the world. So amongst these 3 modes of material nature, the mode of goodness is very, very suitable. So for you to perform devotional service, the most suitable mode is the mode of goodness. Suppose somebody wants to catch a flight. So the other modes are like reaching the airport with a car. When you use a car, the car can travel till the airport. But mode of goodness is like the runway in the airport. So do you need a runway to take the flight off, or you don't need a runway? So therefore, devotees should come to the mode of goodness, and from the mode of goodness, people can take off to the transcendental mode. That is Krishna consciousness. So therefore, this material world is under the influence of these modes. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing here. This material world is under the influence of the modes of material nature. So and Krishna is also saying in Bhagavad Gita that the most suitable mode to practice Krishna consciousness is the mode of goodness. So therefore, we have to cultivate the mode of goodness. So the nature of these 3 modes is that you can cultivate these modes. If somebody wants to be tamoguna, they can cultivate tamoguna. If somebody wants to be lazy, somebody wants to be crazy, somebody wants to be want to procrastinate things, prolong things, so they can cultivate that tamoguna also. If somebody wants to cultivate rajas, they can cultivate rajas. If somebody wants to cultivate goodness, they can cultivate goodness. So therefore, all this, you should know the nature of these modes, how they work. So unless you know the nature of how all these things work, you cannot make any advancement. So we'll all be in a state of confusion in this material world. So therefore, we should know what is this material nature, how does it work, how does it function. So then we'll be able to conduct ourselves in a better way in this material world. Okay? Hare Krishna. So the mode of goodness is a very suitable mode for practicing Krishna consciousness. O Gopinath, the sinner who is weeping and weeping begs for an eternal place at your divine feet. Please give him your mercy. O Gopinath, you are able to do anything, and therefore you have the power to deliver a sinner. Who is there more of a sinner than myself? O Gopinath, you are the ocean of mercy. Having come into this phenomenal world, you expand your divine pastimes for the sake of the fallen souls. O Gopinath, I am so sinful that although the demons have attained your lotus feet, Bhakti Vinod Thakura has remained in this worldly existence. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So we have to beg at the lotus feet of the Lord. We have to pray to the Lord so that we can be delivered from this material existence. Our only shelter is the Lord's lotus feet. So we have to attain his lotus feet and Take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord so that we can be relieved from the miseries of this material existence. Hare Krishna. So today we'll start our Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 15th chapter, verse number 4. Sakyam Maitrim Suhradam Cha Taratyadishu Samsmaran Ripam Agrajam Iti Aha Baspa Gadgadaya Gira Sakyam Maitrim Suhradam Cha Saratyadishu Samsmaran Dripam Agrajam Itiyaha Baspa Gadgadaya Gira Sakyam Maitrim Sahradam Cha Saratyadishu Samsmaran Dripam Agrajam Itiyaha Baspa Gadgadaya Gira. Sakyam Maitrim Sahradam Cha Saratyadishu Samsmaran Nipamagrajam Itiyaha Baspa Gadgadaya Gira Sakrit Maitram Sahradam Cha Saratyadishu Samsmaran Nipam Agrajam Itiyaha Baspam Gadgadaya Gira. Sakyam. So you can repeat after me. Sakyam, well-wishing. Maitrim, benediction. Sauhridam, intimately related. Cha, also. Saratyadishu, in becoming the chariot driver. Samsmaran, remembering all this. Ripam, unto the king. Agrajam, the eldest brother. Iti, thus. Aha, said. Baspa, heavily breathing. Gadgadaya, overwhelmingly. Gira, by speeches. Translation. Remembering Lord Krishna and his well-wishes, benefactions. Remembering Lord Krishna and his well-wishes, benefactions, intimate familial relations, and his chariot driving, Arjuna, overwhelmed and breathing very heavily, began to speak. Purport. The Supreme Living Being is perfect in all relations with his pure devotee. Sri Arjuna is one of the typical pure devotees of the Lord, reciprocating in fraternal relationship. And the Lord's dealing with Arjuna are displays of friendship of the highest perfect order. He was not only a well-wisher of Arjuna, but actually a benefactor. And to make it still more perfect, the Lord tied him into a family relationship by arranging Subhadra's marriage with him. And above all, the Lord agreed to become a chariot driver of Arjuna in order to protect his friend from warfare risks. And Lord became actually happy when he established the Pandavas to rule over the world. Arjuna remembered all this one after another, and thus he became overwhelmed with such thoughts. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayesho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Sakyam Maitrim Sahradam Cha Saratyadeshu Samsmaran Tripam Agrajam Itiyaha Baspa Gadgadaya Gira. Hare Krishna. Here, Lord Krishna has left this material world. So he has concluded his pastimes in the material world, and he has gone back home. So, or he is moving to another planet where he performs his eternal pastimes. So just like the rising and the setting of the sun. So the appearance of the Lord in this material world and the disappearance of the Lord from this material vision, the material vision of the mortals, is like the rising and the setting of the sun. So the sun is rising so today in Bangalore, the sun has risen up now. So, and the sun sets at a particular time. When sun sets at a particular time, it will be rising in some other place. So similarly, the Lord's pastimes are eternal and it continues eternally. The Lord performs all these wonderful pastimes with his devotees. So from one Brahmanda to another Brahmanda, so there are unlimited Brahmandas like this, and the Lord keeps performing his pastimes in any one of these Brahmandas. So therefore, the pastimes of the Lord are eternal. So it's because the Lord is not present in presence of our material vision. That doesn't mean that the Lord does not exist. So the Lord comes on his own will, performs pastimes in this world, concludes his pastimes and goes. Okay? He is completely Swarat, he is completely independent to perform any activity. So he is completely independent. We are all dependent. So the Lord's appearance in this world is completely independent. He comes by his own choice. Just like if somebody wants to enter if the king wants to enter a prison house, what does the king do? Is there somebody's permission required for the king to come to the prison house? Suppose if you want to visit the prison, is permission required? So, but the king does not need it. He just comes on his own will to have a supervision of the activities of the prison house. So he comes on his own will and goes on his own will. So we also discussed in that song, my Lord, you come and perform pastimes in this material world. So out of your own accord to benefit the fallen conditions also. So that we can become attracted to Krishna. So we can become attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. So just like when we see a movie, even a hit movie. So how many times can you see a hit movie? Huh? 2 times, 3 times. After that, you will become bored. So how many times you can read Bhagavad Gita? Huh? How many times you can hear the pastimes of Krishna? So unlimited times. So the more we hear, the more relishable it becomes. So what mantra we chant? Are you getting bored chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? We keep repeating the same mantra and the mantra becomes more and more relishable. Sayat Krishna Namadi Charita Sita Apya Vidyat Pitop Tataptara Sanasya Narochikanu Kintu Adara Danudinam Kaluseva Jusha Swadit Ramadi Bhavati Tadgata Mulahanti. Suppose if a person is affected by jaundice, so if you give him a sugar candy, that will also taste bitter. But having a sugar candy is the medicine for jaundice. So by regularly taking sugarcane juice, even if you give him sugarcane juice, the sugarcane juice will taste bitter. But by giving him sugarcane juice, gradually his disease will get cured and he will start tasting the sugarcane juice. Similarly, chanting of Hare Krishna also immediately when we start, so things may be a little bitter. So always activities in the mode of goodness are like that. It may be little bitter in the beginning, but the result will be very, very nectarian and sweet. So similarly, Krishna's holy name is also like that. So Sita Pitop Tataptara Sanasya Naroji Kintu Adara Danudilam Kanuseve Jushan. But if you regularly and attentively, carefully hear the holy name of the Lord, so it will start acting like a medicine and it will cure the disease from the root. So just like Ayurvedic medicine. So this is the Ayurvedic medicine for jaundice. So if you take an Ayurvedic medicine, the treatment is very, very slow, but it will cure the disease from the root. So the disease is gone once and for all. So similarly, our disease of material existence can be cured by taking to the process of Krishna consciousness, by chanting the holy names of the Lord attentively. Our disease of material existence is cured once and for all. So therefore, there is no question of getting bored when we hear the pastimes of the Lord, when we hear the glories of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord. So therefore, what would we start with? Any idea? How did we start? The past tense of the Lord. The Lord's, the Lord's past tense. We were talking about the Lord's past tense, and we were talking about the hit movie. So the past tense of the Lord becomes more and more relishable. So once a person becomes cured of the disease, then he can start eating anything, and he'll start feeling the taste of everything, right? Because when the liver is bad, whatever you eat will not be palatable. So therefore, once the disease is cured, you become healthy, you can start eating, and then you will develop strength, health, so and vitality, everything will develop, right? So similarly, by taking the medicine of the holy name, what happens? So the disease of material existence is cured, then we can start releasing the past tense of the Lord. So here we have Arjuna, the Lord has concluded his pastimes now. Arjuna is feeling great separation from Krishna. He is unable to bear the separation from the Lord. So this happens with everybody. So any person in this material world. Suppose if somebody loses their near and dear ones, Hare Krishna. Somebody loses their near and dear ones, it's very, very difficult to bear the separation. It takes a lot of pain, and lot of solace is required to overcome that situation. So Arjuna is also feeling his heart is completely dried up, and his face has become pale. So, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking him so many questions. Arjuna, why are you looking so pale? So where is that Arjuna who was filled with vigor and so much vitality? Where is that vigor and vitality of Arjuna gone? So he's asking so many questions, and Arjuna is trying to answer. He's telling that Lord Krishna has left this material world. So I'm feeling great separation from him, and he is remembering all this intimate pastimes and connections what he had with Krishna. So how the Lord had become his chariot driver. So, and how he performed the pastime of Subhadra getting married to, he got Subhadra married to Arjuna. So actually, there was a competition between Duryodhana and Arjuna to get the hand of Subhadra. So Balaram was very, very anxious to, very, very eager to give the hand of Subhadra to Balaram. So, but Balaram was not. So, but Arjuna was not inclined to marry. No, sorry, but Krishna was not inclined to marry Subhadra to Duryodhana. So finally, by the trick of the Lord, so whatever the Lord desires, the same thing will happen. So by the trick of the Lord, so finally Arjuna was married to Subhadra. So all these intimate pastimes which the Lord had with Arjuna, so Arjuna is recollecting all these wonderful pastimes. So similarly, so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the South India tour, so he came to Srirangam, and the 4 months of Chaturmasya he spent in Srirangam. So he was living in the house of one great devotee. His name was Venkatabhatta. He was staying in Venkatabhatta's house for a period of 4 months. So usually the sannyasis, when they are traveling, so when it is the month of Chaturmasya is the rainy season of the year, and it's very difficult to travel during the rainy season. Therefore, they stay in one place and perform austerities. So therefore, he also stayed in one place and started performing. So because the Lord was playing the role of a sannyasi. So he was staying in Srirangam. So he came to Srirangam temple and he saw a Brahmana. So Brahmana was not so much educated, but his Guru Maharaj had instructed him that you should read Bhagavad Gita every day. So he was holding the book and he was seeing the picture. There were tears in his eyes, and all the other Brahmanas, they were ridiculing him. So they were making fun of him. So they're trying to tease him. So he's not so much educated. So, but to the surprise of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could see that this Brahmana was crying actually with tears in his eyes. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the Paramatma sitting in everybody's heart. He knows the heart of the devotee. He went and spoke to that Brahmana. So, my dear Brahmana, so why are you crying actually? Yeah, I see that you are holding Bhagavad Gita in your hand, and at the same time you are crying. What is that that is making you cry? So then the Brahmana told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when I see the picture of Bhagavad Gita, I see that Krishna is the charioteer. He is driving the chariot, and Arjuna is Hare Krishna. Bunch volume pinch. So I see that Arjuna is behind the chariot, and the Krishna is actually driving the chariot. Krishna has become the charioteer of Arjuna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the master of unlimited universes. And for the sake of his devotee, he has become his servant. So when I look at this picture, I see how the Lord is so merciful to his devotees, to the extent that he becomes his servant. He becomes a servant of his own devotee. So when I visualize this, tears naturally roll down my eyes. So that's the reason I am crying. So then Krishna told, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that Brahmana, you have perfectly understood Bhagavad Gita. So though you are an illiterate, not so educated, but you have truly understood the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is the master, but he becomes the servant of his devotees. So this is the intimate dealings of the Lord with his pure devotees. The Lord does not like his devotees treating him with awe and reverence. So in all the other Vishnumurti forms, so usually when the devotees come before the Lakshmi Narayana temple, they cannot have an intimate association just like the devotees of Vrindavan have. So they have to offer, they worship the Lord with awe and reverence. They have a lot of awe and reverence for the Lord. But Krishna is not so much interested in all this awe and reverence and respect shown by his devotees. In fact, he wants to be controlled by his devotees. He wants to be controlled by his devotees. He wants to be chastised by his devotees. So he wants all these intimate dealings with his devotees. All these intimate dealings can happen between friends, right? Can happen between lovers, can happen between friends and lovers. So here Arjuna was the friend of Krishna. So therefore this relationship was very, very intimate. So therefore the Lord likes this loving reciprocation. So then Krishna told, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that Brahmana, you have perfectly understood Bhagavad Gita. So this is the way of understanding Bhagavad Gita. So then he is discussing about his pastimes of how Arjuna married Subhadra and how Subhadra was treated. So how Subhadra was by trickery of Krishna was married to him. So all these wonderful pastimes are there. So and Arjuna is remembering all these wonderful pastimes. And therefore the devotees in the Gaudiya Vaishnava line also. So how do they worship the Lord? So they worship the Lord in separation. Serving the Lord in separation is the mood of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. How the Gaudiya Vaishnavas serve the Lord? In the mood of separation, they serve the Lord. So we don't say that. So yesterday I saw Krishna in my dreams. So many devotees, I have heard this from many new devotees who come to the temple new. So yesterday I saw Prabhupada in my dreams. Yesterday I saw the Lord in my dreams. So all this So all these things are all on the sentimental platform. So they are not on the devotional platform. They are only on the sentimental platform. So when we see the pastimes of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, what they are singing, He Radhe Vraj Devi Ke Chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta, Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pada Patale, Kalin Divane Kuta. So what does it mean? So they are saying, Krishna, where are you? Or Radharani, where are you? Are you on the banks of Yamuna or on the Kalia Ghat? Where are you? So they are not saying that yesterday we saw Krishna in our dreams. We had intimate pastimes. I saw the intimate pastimes of Krishna. I associated with the pastimes of Krishna yesterday in my dream and all that. What they're saying? Hey Krishna, where are you? Hey Radharani, where are you? Are you on the banks of the Jamuna or are you on the foothills of Govardhana? So where are you? So they're actually looking out for Krishna, which means they are serving the Lord in separation. So this is the mood of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So actually looking for the searching out for the Lord in separation. Goshwantau iti sarvato vrajapure Kedair Mahavihvalau Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugau Sri Jiva Gopalaka. What they're saying? So they are crying out. So they're making this. So they are crying out for Krishna in all these different pastime places of Vrindavan. So they're asking, where are you? Radharani, where are you? Where is Krishna? Where are you? So this is the mood of actually worshipping. So Krishna. So sometimes, there is once the devotees were in a bus and some elderly Mataji had come. So and all the devotees, there was a lot of, she thought that there are many devotees here. So I will display some bhav so that as if, I have gone into the ecstasy of devotional service. So, and immediately she started rolling on the ground. And one Maharaj was there. So Maharaj, when he saw this activity of that Mataji, he turned his face away, and all the devotees also turned their face away. So and immediately that Mataji understood that nobody is paying me attention. Then she came back to her senses. So sometimes all this display, trying to draw attention of devotees, trying to be glorified by devotees as somebody great, so it's all not recommended in devotional service. So the symptoms of devotional service is actually when devotees, when we come before the Lord, just like we sang this song today, Gopinath Mama Nivedana Suno. So this is my heart. So if my heart is so dirty, how I can please you? How will you purify me? So how will I come closer to you? How I can purify my heart? So this should be the prayer of a devotee. So not that we want to accept some cheap name, fame, and adoration from the devotees. So this should not be the mode. So when we come to the Lord, we should open up our heart. We should genuinely cry out to the Lord for help, because many anarthas in the heart we are not able to overcome on our own. So we have to take the help of the Lord, shelter of the Lord, so that we can overcome these anarthas in the heart. So it's just like the many anarthas in the heart are like the Yamalarjuna trees. So they are very deep rooted and they grow very tall and strong. So how did the Yamalarjuna trees were uprooted by Krishna? So when he got the vocal between these two trees, and when Krishna pulled, the two trees were uprooted. So similarly, there are many anarthas in the heart, sitting in the form of these big, big trees. So in the name of name, fame, glory, reputation, adoration, so and also in the form of lust, anger, greed. So these are all compared to the big, big trees in the heart. So and all these trees needs to be uprooted. And if they have to be uprooted, how it is possible? So only Krishna has to come and uproot it. So then we have to make way for Krishna to enter our heart. If we don't allow Krishna to enter our heart, we are not giving him an opportunity to uproot all these unwanted creepers, unwanted trees. So therefore, the holy name of the Lord has to enter the heart through the ears. So when we chant the holy names of the Lord, we have to chant with care and attention. Sayat Krishna Namadi Charita Sitapi Vidya. So Kinto Adara Danudinam Kalusevi. With Kinto Adara, very carefully when we hear the holy name will enter the heart. So when it enters the heart, what happens? So Krishna is naturally very, very pure, just like the sun. So as soon as there is sun, immediately what happens? So the darkness will go away. Apart from the darkness going away, what will happen? What will happen? So many bacteria and so many germs will get killed. So immediately when there is the rays of sun. So sun is also like an antiseptic agent. So he can purify the drainage also. He can draw water from the drainage also. He can extract water from a river also, from ocean also. From all different places, he can extract water and purify them. So because he is Paramam Pavitram Bhavan, just like the sun can purify all the dirty things of this world. So similarly, the entrance of the Lord in the heart of a devotee will purify the heart of the devotee. So how is it possible to allow the Lord to enter the heart is by chanting with attention. So initially it may be difficult for us to chant with attention, but by chanting regularly and repeatedly and chanting more, so we can allow the Lord to penetrate our heart. So we have to make this effort. So and give this valuable human form of life. So and the time for chanting the holy names. Okay. So many devotees, we have time. It is not that we don't have time. So we have time and we have to give time for chanting the holy names. And the holy names have to be chanted with attention. So we have so many distractions in this world. So all these different distractions are nothing but alternative attractions apart from the attraction for Krishna. So to bring focus on Krishna, so in Kali Yuga is very, very difficult. So the only way we can bring the focus on Krishna is by chanting the holy name. So that's the reason it's mentioned in the scriptures. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gatiranya. So there is no other process except the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Except chanting Hare Krishna, there is no other way, no other means of deliverance for the age of Kali Yuga. So therefore, the chanting of the holy name should be given top priority. So there are so many other processes, but all other processes are not as effective as the chanting of the holy names. So, and what is recommended for this age by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the only way we can get the attention of the Lord, associate with the Lord, purify our existence in this material world, and we can go back to Krishna. So all other processes are there, but they are not as effective, the process, as in the age of Kali. Okay. So here, Arjuna is meditating on the Lord. He is remembering the different pastimes of the Lord. So, and just by hearing, one can develop love for Krishna. So how one can develop attraction for Krishna is the one more way of developing attraction for Krishna is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasyam vai shruyamanaha Krishna parama purushe bhaktir utpadayate pumsan shoka moha vayapa. So we should hear about Krishna, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna. So the whole Sunday program we have. What is the whole Sunday program meant for? To do the most important activity, what we are doing now. To hear about Krishna. So if we don't hear about Krishna, you will not develop attraction for Krishna. So many devotees in the past, they just developed attraction for Krishna just by hearing about Krishna. Rukmini never saw Krishna, but she got so overwhelmingly got attracted, magnetically she got attracted to Krishna just by hearing about Krishna. So Narada Muni went and told Rukmini Devi about Krishna, different pastimes of Krishna. So he told about Krishna's activities, his bodily features. Rukmini Devi developed so much attraction for Krishna that she completely forgot and forgot about all other men. She had no attraction for anybody except for Krishna. So how did that attraction come about? By hearing about Krishna. And how did the wives of the Brahmanas, the Brahmana Patnis, how they developed attraction for Krishna? So many fruit vendors from Vrindavan. So many flower vendors, fruit vendors, betel nut vendors. So they were all coming from Vrindavan and they were speaking to the wives of the Brahmanas. And they were telling, they were hearing about different glories of the Lord, different pastimes of the Lord from all these fruit vendors, betel nut vendors, and flower vendors from Vrindavan. And they developed great attraction for Krishna. So to that extent that the Lord, he was in Vrindavan. They had developed so much love for the Lord, but by their devotion and remembrance, they attracted the Lord towards them. That Lord, when he took the cowherd boys, when he was taking out the cows for grazing. So he came all the way from Vrindavan to the place where the Brahmanas were performing the yajna. So, and as soon as the wives of the Brahmanas, they heard about Krishna, what did they do? So initially Krishna sent all the cowherd boys because the cowherd boys were feeling hungry. So he sent the cowherd boys to get some from prasadam from the Brahmanas. But these Brahmanas were so much immersed in performing this Angirasa Yajna. This Angirasa Yajna is actually performed for promotion to heavenly planets. Therefore, they were all performing the Angirasa Yajna. They were interested more going to the heavenly planets than going back to Godhead. So when the boys went to ask for food, the Brahmanas behaved as if the boys did not exist. So they went and requested the Brahmanas that Krishna and Balaram have come. So they are hungry now. They are looking for some food. So if you can please offer us some food, so we will give it to Krishna Balaram. So, but the Brahmanas, they felt they were very proud of their birth. They were very, very proud of their learning. So to the extent that they felt that the boys were all some ordinary cowherd boys. So there's no need to pay so much attention for them. So they neglected them. And the boys again went back to Krishna and Balaram, they told that we went and told the Brahmanas to give us food. But the Brahmanas, they behaved as if we did not exist. So then, but Krishna convinced them, see, you people are going for begging. When you go for begging, it is obvious that you may be rejected also. So this is a part of the begging process. So similarly, when you go out for book distribution, it is not that every time you are welcome, people will receive you. Sometimes you'll be refused, rejected. So because begging, actually, every devotee who takes initiation from the spiritual master has to beg for the spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada has very intelligently designed this book distribution into the begging program has been designed into the book distribution program. So therefore, we have to go and beg and give Krishna consciousness. So oftentimes when you go for begging, you'll be rejected also. So you can expect to be rejected. Don't worry about that. Now you don't go to the Brahmanas, but instead of going to the Brahmanas, you go to the wives of the Brahmanas. They are my devotees. They will not refuse. So the boys went to the wives of the Brahmanas. And immediately what did the wives of the Brahmana do? Whatever was kept for offering for the sacrifice, they packed up everything into the baskets. And immediately they wanted to leave. So and immediately they packed all the baskets and they also left. So to see Krishna and Balaram. So they went, met Krishna Balaram. They offered all the different kinds of foodstuffs to Krishna and Balaram. And how did they develop this attraction? By hearing about Krishna. They had not seen Krishna. So and Krishna also performed many pastimes with the wives of the Brahmanas. He was telling that, so my dear ladies, why have you come so far, giving up your house? So in those days, the custom was that if a lady leaves the house without the permission of the elders, she cannot go back. So now how will you go back to your houses? So Krishna was actually trying to, threaten them. He was trying to play around with them. So then they were feeling disheartened. Krishna, we have come all the way rejecting, we have thrown away all the social customs aside. And we have come all the way looking only for you. And now you are saying that, so you go back home. So we have come with a determination that we will not go back. So we have come with a determination to stay with you. So we want to be with you. So then Krishna made by his mystical arrangement, Krishna arranged things in a way that the wives of the Brahmanas were sent back home and they were accepted by the Brahmanas. Okay. So this is the wonderful pastime of Krishna and how they all developed attraction for Krishna by hearing about Krishna. So therefore, if we don't develop attraction for hearing the pastimes of Krishna, so then what will happen if we don't develop pastimes? So if we don't develop attraction for hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, then our life is meaningless. So what is the shloka, Anupam Prabhu? Which says that if you don't develop attraction for hearing the pastimes of Krishna, Shema eva hi kevalam. Vishwaksena katasvayaha na utpadade yatiratim Shema eva hi kevalam. So if we don't develop attraction for hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whatever we do in this world is just an useless labor. So therefore, what happens to us if we hear the pastimes of Krishna? We develop attraction for Krishna, and what Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. If one develops attraction for Krishna's and Krishna's pastimes, what will happen to them? After leaving this world, they'll not be born again in this material world. They'll go back to Krishna. So why Krishna performs all this wonderful pastimes? So that we can become attracted to these pastimes and we can all go back to Krishna. So Dhruva Maharaj was also in deep meditation. So when Dhruva Maharaj was performing these austerities according to the instructions of Narada Muni, so he put his foot down, and on one foot, so a 5-year-old boy, so taking the instructions of Narada Muni very seriously. So what was he doing? He was meditating on the Lord. So his complete focus was on the Lord. So he became so heavy that the earth started losing its balance. And the air and the movement of the air got choked up in the entire universe actually. So, and all the demigods went and complained to whom did they complain? They went along with Brahma and they complained to Vishnu. So then Vishnu appeared. Vishnu said that my devotee is very dearly thinking about me. Now I will go and give him my audience. So finally, the Lord came and gave his audience to Dhruva Maharaj. So when the Lord gave him audience, Dhruva Maharaj was feeling ashamed. So he was feeling very uncomfortable because he was so much attracted by the transcendental feature and beauties of the Lord. He had seen many living entities in this world. He had seen the 8,400,000 different species of life, many living entities in his life. But no one was so attractive and charming as the Lord. Nobody was so charming and attractive as the Lord. So he was so attracted by the presence of the Lord, by the beautiful bodily features of the Lord, that he felt that he was completely satisfied with the darshan of the Lord. So in this world, when we possess things of this material world, what happens? Usually our greed becomes more and more. We want to accumulate more and more. But only the transcendental fame, name, beauty, and pastimes of the Lord are completely satisfying to the heart. So his heart was completely satisfied. And in his prayers, he's telling, my Lord, I came looking for broken pieces of glass, but I got diamonds. So I got valuable diamonds. So, but I'm completely satisfied. I don't want to ask any other desire from you. So my desire was childish. So just like when children, they fight. So what do they fight for, children? Toys. So they don't want to share toys sometimes. Sometimes they don't want to part toys. So then they also say that your daddy is stronger or my daddy is stronger. All these things they will be speaking. My daddy is strongest. All these things. So similarly, they also here, Dhruva Maharaj also had a desire. I want to have a bigger kingdom even than my father or grandfather. So this was also a childish desire. So he was very ashamed to present this desire before the Lord. So, and he said, I don't want to ask any material desire. It is foolishness to come before you and ask for material desires. Any person who is intelligent, he will not come before you and ask for any petty material desire. But I am such a fool that I came before you asking for a material desire. My desire was childish. So my Lord, kindly pardon me. So actually now I am not attracted to, I am no longer interested in this desire, but I am completely attracted. Now I have seen your beautiful transcendental form. I am completely attracted to your pastimes, and I am magnetically attracted towards your pastimes and name, fame, beauty, and pastimes. So I want to completely get absorbed. So please give me the association of your devotees, where I can discuss all these wonderful pastimes about you. So what is Dhruva Maharaj? After meditation, after deep meditation to the extent that he became one in Lord in consciousness. Such a devotee, what is he asking for? The perfection of a yogi is to realize the Paramatma within the heart. That Dhruva Maharaj has already realized. But now, when the Lord is before him, what is he asking for? What is he asking for? He is asking for the association of devotees. I want to hear all these pastimes in the association of your devotees, and I want to develop more and more attraction for you, love for you, and develop devotional service for you. So he is not asking for meditation or merging into Brahma Jyoti. What is he asking for? He is asking for devotional service and association. Okay. The more we hear about the Lord in the association of devotees, the more we develop attraction for the Lord. So this is how we cultivate attraction for the Lord. And by developing attraction and cultivation, by cultivating this, so this mood of devotional service to the Lord, we can go back to Krishna. So that is where we need the association of devotees. So this association of devotees is the most vital part of our life. So therefore, what Dhruva Maharaj is asking for, what Prahlad Maharaj is asking for is already available to us here. Okay. The association is available. So therefore, we have to come to this association, take advantage of association, cultivate our attraction for the Lord's pastimes. So when devotees come together, what should they do? Should we again carry that outside world with us, or we should discuss about Krishna's glories, pastimes of the Lord, glories of the Lord, and cultivate our Krishna consciousness? What should we do? So, develop attraction for Krishna Katha and go back from here. This world is not a fit place to live. Is a fit place to live? So, just like Arjuna is feeling great separation from the Lord, so by missing his personal association, we can also develop the same separation as Arjuna is feeling now by developing this attraction for Krishna. Therefore, give more time for devotional service, hearing, chanting, reading, and achieve the purpose and goal of life. Okay? Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Any doubts, any questions? Yeah? 1 minute. Purport, Arjuna, but actually a benefactor, and to make still more perfect, the Lord tied him with familial relationship by arranging Subhadra's marriage with him. And above all, the Lord agreed to become a chariot driver of Arjuna in order to protect his friend from warfare risks. Warfare risks. Therefore, so war means there is a risk of fighting. So in the war, what will happen? There is a risk of losing life. So therefore, to protect his friend, he became the armor of Arjuna. So war in the mind is always there. But here in this context, it is war on a physical platform. So he wants to save his friend. So, which means the Lord is looking for the protection of the devotee from all directions. To protect him mentally, protect him physically. By instructions, he has strengthened his intelligence and mind. And by his physical protection, he is giving him moral support. And also by his advice, he is protecting him. So by every means, the Lord is present and he is protecting his devotee. So our war in this world, we are also at war. When you take to Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says, when we take to Krishna consciousness, you are at war with Maya. What are we doing? We are at war with Maya. We are actually waging a war. So therefore, we also need the help of the Lord. Just like Krishna protected Arjuna in the warfare, we also need the help of the Lord to protect us in this war with Maya. So therefore, we have to pray to Krishna every day. So once Srila Prabhupada came before the deities and he was praying before the deities. So Krishna, please help me that I don't fall down. And one devotee behind, he was hearing this. So later on he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you are such an exalted devotee, so pure devotee of the Lord. Why are you praying like this? So that you will not fall down. So Prabhupada told him that because I'm praying like this, I'm not falling down. So you have to pray so that you don't fall down. Hare Krishna. So we have to pray so that we don't fall down, we don't fall prey to Maya and lose our Krishna consciousness. So Maya will offer us the cheap baits of sense gratification and steal away the valuable gem of Krishna consciousness. Many times this happens with devotees who are all practicing newly. We're all beginners. We're all practicing. So by offering cheap baits of Maya, cheap baits of sense gratification, we may lose the valuable jewel of Krishna consciousness. Very, very dangerous word. Padam padam yatvi padam natesha. More dangerous than the physical dangers or the dangers or the tricks and the traps of Maya. So we have to be very, very careful with the tricks and traps of Maya. And especially, we can be protected by reading Prabhupada's books. So we have to strengthen our mind and intelligence by reading Srila Prabhupada's books and also keep our mind strong by chanting Hare Krishna regularly in a scheduled manner, have a spiritual discipline so that we are always protected and protected from the whips of Maya. So for a devotee, we are all people living in this material world. We are in the world of Maya. This is Maya's territory. This is Maya's jurisdiction. So therefore, the influence of Maya is always there. But how a devotee can be like a water on the lotus leaf. So a water on the lotus leaf is, it is never attached to the leaf. Okay. So similarly, we should be like the water on the lotus leaf. So how can we be like that in this material world? There's so many distractions, attractions, allurements in this world. So how can you protect yourself from all these allurements and attractions? By having a spiritual discipline. So we have to have a spiritual discipline. We have to have a time, especially early morning. That's the reason we are having this Zoom japa, so that everybody, all the devotees can log into the Zoom japa, chant with devotees, finish your quota of rounds. So then read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So have this association of devotees where you can come and do services. So have this spiritual discipline so that we don't become victims of Maya. So you need to have the spiritual discipline. If you don't have the spiritual discipline, then we will become victims of Maya. We'll be swept away by the waves of Maya into the ocean of material existence. Okay? So therefore, this spiritual discipline is required for us to be like the water on the lotus leaf. Though we are in this world, we are living in this world, we have to interact with people of this world, we have to interact with the modes. So, but still, when you take the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, we can be like the drop of a water on the lotus leaf. Padmam patram ivam vasa, which means like a water on the lotus leaf. So we have to be like this. That is what the acharyas are saying. It is not that we run away from this world. We cannot run away from this world. We are in this world, but we should be like the drop of a water on the lotus leaf. By spiritual discipline only we can be there. Okay. So we have to be on that boundary only, boundary of devotees. Then you can be on the leaf. Or else if the drop falls into the water, gone. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any other doubts? Any small doubts also you can ask, no problem. So how to cultivate mode of goodness? Any answers? Huh? Yeah. Actually, we have to be awake and utilize the mode of goodness properly. The day is divided into 3 parts. So morning 4 o'clock up to 10 o'clock is in the mode of goodness. 10 to 6 o'clock is in the mode of passion. And 6 o'clock and above is in the mode of goodness. So what happens most of the time, we work at night and wake up during the day. So we are completely reversed the cycles. So many times, many MNC companies. So, and there should also be a discipline in work, discipline in our eating habits. So discipline, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending habits should be disciplined. Everything should be regulated. And most of the time now for devotees, they have to make the best use of the morning time, which is in the mode of goodness. Okay. If you exhaust the mode of goodness, if you exhaust most of the time in the mode of goodness, many times we wake up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, where 4 hours of the mode of goodness is gone. That 4 hours, usually devotees wake up at 4 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock, they would have completed most of their sadhana. So make the best use of that mode of goodness. So if you don't cultivate that mode of goodness, then you cannot come to the transcendental mode. You cannot come to Krishna consciousness. We may be doing the same discipline in other times, but it will not be so effective. We will be chanting during the Rajoguna time, but the chanting will not be very effective. Or you will be chanting during evenings. Sometimes many of our devotees have this experience. You skip your rounds in the morning and chant in the evening. What will happen? You chant 10 rounds in the morning, 6 rounds in the evening. What is the quality of the rounds in 10 rounds in the morning and 6 rounds in the evening? You tally. You'll know the difference, how the modes will act. So therefore, make the best use of the mode of goodness. Then goodness will develop. It will take some time because everything is a cultivation process, but make the best use of the time, best use of the mode of goodness. This time between 4 to 10, our life should be so disciplined that we should utilize this time between 4 to 10 for most of the time for Krishna consciousness. Then again our morning duties. So then we go to work. Now that is mode of passion. So you work in the mode of passion. So many people, many successful people, not only the spiritualists, even the materialists, the top CEOs of big companies, they all utilize this time of Brahma Muhurta. Not for spiritual cultivation, for they're doing their own work. But that is the best time if you want to cultivate knowledge, best time if you want to, the lot of creativity. They say that creativity is at its peak during this Brahma Muhurta time. That's the reason these people use that time for the peak hours for developing their skills, their this thing, whatever, creative work or whatever. Hare Krishna. Here, and to make it more perfect, by arranging what we have done. To make his relation much more perfect. So still more perfect. So he established his relationship with his family. So the relationship will become more and more intense. So to intensify the relationship. So usually what the Lord looks for is that intimate dealings with his devotees. So that is how the Lord becomes very, very happy. So as I told you, that Lord wants his devotees to control him out of love. This is what the Lord likes. Therefore, to make the relationship much more better and stronger, he married Subhadra to Arjuna. Next. So when we go to the spiritual world also, we'll have families. So in Vaikuntha also there is family. In Golok also there is family. Or else how the cowherd men, they all have their families. So they have families, but what is the difference between material world and spiritual world is, So the attraction for the Lord is so great that the attraction for the family becomes negligent. Powerful. Yes. Difference between spirit soul and conditional soul. So what is the difference between spirit soul and conditional soul? The spirit soul is pure by nature. It is Sachidananda Vigraha. So whereas the conditioned soul comes with a bundle of desires, and this body is the representation of the desires. The gross body and the subtle body is the manifestation of the desires to enjoy independent of Krishna. So we all want to enjoy independent of Krishna. Therefore, this body is a manifestation of those desires. So when this desires becomes practically zero, when our material desires becomes completely negated, and we completely give up our material desires, and this desire to enjoy independent of Krishna becomes purified and becomes desires only to serve Krishna, then we become purified and go back to Krishna. Answered? Any other doubts? Done? Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Karan, you have? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vacha kalpatarabhyasya cha kripa sindhubhyam cha paritanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo.